Just another day.
Just another day. Nothing going on today.
Yeah, I mean, there's Chiefs, Ravens on.
Nah. Do we even like football?
Nah.
Not really.
Probably
Wish
not
I
gonna
ended
tune
here.
into it or anything. Don't have any bets. Just kidding. It's football time.
Yeah.
The day is finally here. I'm about to go downstairs and go to town on some snacks. Maybe a Bloody
nachos.
Mary or two. Yeah. Some game food.
Yeah, buddy.
Watching my Rashi Rice going off. AJ's going to be watching Zay Flowers
Zay,
go
baby.
off. That's his guy. But welcome back, league mates and listeners. It is finally the start of week 1 of the 2024 NFL season. We are co-hosts Dayne and AJ, and we are back with a Pigskin Pals podcast. And in this episode, we're going to be going over really briefly our redraft picks of our league, and then also more exciting, a DFS lineup that we're going to be going head-to-head in for every week of the season, and we're going to keep track of that too. And you'll be able to see some of our favorite plays with like a salary restriction. So Let's get stuck right into it.
Bang, 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 bang. Here we go. Briefly going to go over our week 1 picks for each of our Pigskin Pals leagues. You can see the graphic on the screen. We're not even going to really take a look at players, the matchups, just kind of say who we think's going to take it for the week. Looks like we only got 2 differences on this week. Dayne, any thoughts specifically on guys that you took?
Yeah, I know I'm going to win and walk away with a W week 1. That's all I know. That's all I care about going up against Austin. Gotta stay confident with your team. But fresh slate, 0-0. AJ kind of swept the floor last season by picking some more picks correct. But Luke and Peter, or Peter and Luke and Sam and Ryan, we are both different on. So I guess what were you kind of thinking with the Peter and Luke game?
It was mostly the flex plays on Luke's side I liked more. I'm not too in on Tajay and Odunze yet, and that's Peter's side. And I think Mostert, which is on Luke's side, is going to have a good week. So I think just the flex in general is kind of where I flipped sides there.
Yeah, and I think I was pretty hesitant. I want to see how the Jefferson and the Vikings are going to shake out first before kind of having some more faith in there. And then also Richardson, I want to see, I know he's going to be a good fantasy quarterback, so I guess there's not too much to say about it, but I have my reservations about how good he can actually be. So this is what I was going through. And then in the other one, Sam and Ryan, I went with Sam, you went with Ryan. And I know I went with Sam because I think I was scared of the Jalen Waddle injury. Also, just Ayuk, how's he going to be treated after coming back? And DeAndre Swift, I don't really like him. So
that's fair.
I was just, trust my gut. Going with Sam, who I like his starters.
For me, I think Ryan's receiver room, if they all play and are healthy, which I think they probably are if they're, no injury designations, all that jazz, I think it's actually kind of nice. St. Brown, Ayuk, Waddle, and Amari Cooper, I think is really solid. That's one of the better, his 2 flex plays are some of the better flex plays I've seen when looking at these lineups, as opposed to Eckler and Worthy on Sam's side is a little suspect. But I do agree, DeAndre Swift made me hesitate a little bit because I have no faith in that guy this year, but we shall see. I think Ryan's receivers will take him to the promised land this week.
Yeah, I think it would be really cool and exciting if Worthy just catches a 70-yard touchdown, goes off. Everyone's like, he's him, but I think that could change week to week. I don't think he's going to be the guy. And then, Derrick Henry could easily pop off tonight also for Ryan. But those were our redraft picks, dynasty picks. They're a lot easier to make now that we can see the trends as we've been going over in the critique corner. But the only one that we are different on is Riley and Austin. I know Riley we definitely have him ranked higher in just the power rankings and everything, and we don't really think Austin's team is that amazing just overall, I guess. But the starting lineup is pretty good, so talk about why you picked Austin.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I think as a team, his team is not all that great because after his starting lineup, it just falls off a cliff. And I think the main reason we rated him so low as well was his quarterbacks. But now that he has Sam Darnold as a starting quarterback, he has basically a full decent roster. So it's not like he's going to be a pushover all year if all his guys stay healthy in that starting lineup. He could be a guy that puts up some numbers and at least gets close to winning a lot of games. So it's not going to be like a last year Ryan and Austin thing where it's like if you played one of those two, you're going to win by 60 points. I don't think it's going to be like that. So, and like you said, the rest of the matchups, at least this week, I feel like there's a pretty clear favorite in all of them. But
I would love to see some upsets. We'll be looking out on that front, and then now into the meat and the potatoes, that DFS lineup, our picks for the week. We might be going and restructuring this interface. It was really rushed. So I'll go through mine first. At quarterback, I got Kyler Murray with a stack at running back of James Conner. I also came back in that game with Dalton Kincaid. He's my comeback or wraparound player, wraparound tuggy, whatever. We got Kenneth Walker, Chris Godwin, Tyreek Hill, and then another little mini stack with Christian Kirk. They're playing against each other, Tyreek and Kirk. And then I got Andre Yosivach in my flex. And hey, T. Higgins just picked up an injury designation with a hammy. Yeah, he got picked up with a hammy. We still don't know what's going on with Chase. This could be wide receiver 1 for the Bengals.
I'll be so honest. I've seen this guy's name around. I've never known how to say it, so I appreciate you saying it out loud around me for the first time ever. I had no clue how to pronounce that name, so now I know. Yosivach, or however you said it.
Yosivach?
Whatever.
I've seen it different everywhere, but I think it's pretty fun like that.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very valid strategy, just like going super top heavy and then one of your flex, which this one technically does have some upside, but like, I don't know, he's not gonna score very many points, but front loading and maybe give him a chance at scoring some points and the rest of your guys.
Yeah, he's so cheap that I punted flex, and then I forgot I even mentioned my defense. This is one of the cheapest defenses, the Panthers, but the Saints, I don't really know what the Saints are going to look like this year. They could have like that number 1 pick at the end of the season, if they even have any of their draft capital. I don't really know. They keep like trading up for linemen and they bust. So that is that. I'll kind of go over more of like why I chose some people after you go through your lineup.
All right, I got Baker as my QB, going a little cheapy at QB, but stacking him with Mike Evans and Cade Otton. I think me and Dan kind of talked about this earlier today, just when we were texting, but I think we both kind of think the Commanders' defense is going to be pretty shite.
Dog shit.
So I think targeting them could be a trend. If we're right, could be a trend going forward in DFS. And Mike Evans is as consistent gets. Baker, while maybe not like the best NFL quarterback, can put up some fantasy points. And Cade Otton was just a tight end with cheap tight end, and it was a stack. So I said, why not? I'll triple stack that. Running backs, I got Kamara and Raheem Mostert. While the 2 wide receivers are Tank Dell and JSN. My flex is James Cook, and my defense is the Chargers against the Raiders, because the Raiders are probably also going to be a little bit rough with their QB play. So I think that's going to be a reasonable team to pick defenses against as well.
Yeah, interesting. You both definitely believe the Commanders' defense isn't going to be that good. I mean, it was pretty bad last year, and I can't really name any notable players that they added this year. So
they added a bunch of like players that got cut from the Cowboys because Dan Quinn is their coach. So there you go.
But players that were cut, so they're not that good. Exactly. I kind of went with targeting that Arizona Buffalo game because I thought a lot of like the pieces were pretty cheap. Also, I think it's going to be like a pretty high scoring game where Cardinals defense is not outstanding by their own means either. And I think honestly, like the Bills could be a little more open to like high scoring games too, because like
Matt Milano being hurt does not help them. He's like their main defensive guy. He's gone.
And then they lost their safeties. They didn't bring back Tre'Davious White. So it's kind of like a new defense. I know they have some studs on the line, but besides that, Bills are going to look very different this year, especially like on offense and defense. So curious to see how that plays out. Who is one of your players, maybe not like your most expensive player, but your favorite player? Who is your most confident must start this week?
I mean, if I'm looking at the one I'm most confident in, maybe not my favorite, but the one I'm most confident in is James Cook. You kind of were mentioning it already, talking about the Arizona-Buffalo game. I think that's going to be a high-scoring game. And I think the Cardinals might have the worst defense in the NFL. So
when do the Commanders and Cardinals play? I need
that's going to be crazy, dude. I am looking forward to it. If they actually play this year. That's going to be fun. But I think James Cook is going to have a monster day as long as Ray Davis doesn't like snipe a touchdown from the 1 yard line or something. But he's going to get a bunch of carries. We saw at the end of last year. That's where they were trending. They were handing the ball off a lot more. And I think against a shit defense like the Cardinals, he could have just a monster day. Who is your most confident player?
I'll reveal that, but first,
Ooh.
it's week 4. They Cardinals play at home against
the
Commanders, and I think for that week I'm just gonna fill it out as.
I was literally going to say that. I was literally just going to say the whole thing's going to be Cardinals Commanders, except for defense. We get like some like stud defense, and then just the rest just fill it out with just Cardinals and
that would be such an interesting strategy.
So
which
fun.
Probably would never play out, but
probably bad.
Go all in on defense that game. Most expensive D, and then just stack terrible defensive players with their offensive players. But I'm pretty confident about Kenneth Walker, actually, because I'm also choosing the Seahawks everywhere kind of as my survivor pool game. I'm choosing them over the Cincinnati Bengals. I know they're also another like high favorite, but with just all this weird news of their offensive players, I switched over to the Seahawks. So I think Seahawks are going to win this game, and they're just going to rely on Kenneth Walker to run out the clock the rest of the game, and he'll be stacking up some points.
Wow. I mean, I also think the Seahawks are going to win, but I think taking them over the Bengals is wild. That sounds crazy to me. I feel like the Patriots, there's no way they win that game, but you never know. I guess if like Jamar and Higgins don't play, who knows?
Yeah. And then one other, we didn't really talk about this in the beginning, but this is kind of treated this like a cash lineup. So we're not going, or at least I'm not going for like the highest boom, like the highest scoring team out there. I'm just trying to beat like the 50%. I'm trying to beat one other person, AJ. So going with some safety and some slight high risk players also.
Yeah, I feel like I did the same thing. I think Kamara and James Cook are two of the safer plays this week at running back. They're both just going to get like so much volume where I think there's no way they don't score points. And then the same thing kind of with Mike Evans. I think he's really, really safe this week. And then I got the boom players like Raheem Mostert. I think he's going to have a multiple touchdown week this week and kind of upset Devon Achane owners. I think Miami, at least the past couple of years, they've started out hot like every year. So I don't see them. I don't see them not starting the same way. And then Tank Dell's like, I feel like one of the biggest like boom players you can have. So. And then I'll be honest, JSN, I kind of just had that much money left, and he looked like the best option. I'm not really a big JSN guy, but you know what? You're talking up the Seahawks. Maybe I found some heat here. Who knows?
I mean, yeah, like a possession player in that kind of game too, like just moving the chains. That's kind of him. I think it would be a nice outing. I was debating. I don't think I'm going to put him in my dynasty lineup, but one other thing I did think about looking at your DFS lineup is you don't have a single player that's on your team besides like Kamara and redraft. You don't have any dynasty players, do you?
I have Kamara and dynasty, not in redraft. I wanted him in redraft, right? So it's opposite. But other than that, other than Kamara, I don't believe I own any of these players in any league that I'm in anywhere. Actually, James Cook in like some random shit league, but like no important league that I have, I own any of these players minus Kamara. Went a little weird. I feel like normally I do end up have a little bias towards guys that I have on my teams, but I guess I didn't do that here.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to look like. I like doing these lineups because you can look at it from like a holistically approach. Where like clear bias, you're just like purely going off like what is going to be the game script. This makes sense. I'm going to be playing these players in these games, and then trying to come up with a team that way. Yeah. Anything else you want to add? Who you got tonight?
I got the Ravens. I think it'll be. I actually think. We were having this discussion, I feel like, in one of our group chats. You guys were saying that you think it might be a low-scoring game, or what?
Yeah, some people are saying it's going to be a pretty defensive game.
I feel the opposite, I think.
Yeah, I wasn't really on that full end of the spectrum.
I don't necessarily think it's going to be like 50-40 or nothing like that, but I think it'll be a reasonably fun offensive game. And I think the Ravens will win, and I think Zay Flowers is going to have a night, baby.
I was just hearing some stuff, and I am getting a little more confident about Zay Flowers because I think the past like 4 times or whatever that the Chiefs and the Ravens have played each other, who's their Steve Spagnuolo, right? The defensive coordinator. He runs like a lot of one high safety against Lamar to limit his running, and they're like, it's going to open up a lot of screens and like potential boom routes for Zay Flowers to get open against some man coverage. So that will be interesting to watch out. I was on the side of the Chiefs. I was just saying, like, I think 4 out of 5 times they've played, Chiefs have won. Yeah. They're also at home too.
It's a safe bet.
And yeah, I'm just going with the chalk. I mean, Mahomes is my GOAT, so I'm not going to go against him.
Fair enough. Mahomes is his GOAT, I guess. Not
But
even Rodgers anymore.
No. I mean, it was pretty, like, with how young Mahomes is and how many Super Bowls he's won,
Oh, yeah.
like, it's pretty clear to me who's the GOAT.
He's definitely, I think by the end of his career, it will be a pretty common thought that he is the GOAT.
Like, yeah, Brady has more championships, but I've always believed that Mahomes is more talented than Brady. Like, yeah, maybe Brady has that more competitive edge, but like,
And I mean, if the only thing they're holding against Mahomes will be championships and stuff like that because of Brady's rings, I wouldn't be surprised if he has just as many as Brady by the end of his career. So there would
I
be
hope
no
he has more.
There would be no debate then at that point, probably.
That's why I was rooting for the Chiefs in the Super Bowl last year. I was like, I want Mahomes to have the most rings. If the Packers are in the Super Bowl and the Chiefs are in the Super Bowl, I'm just going to be rooting for them. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Until it gets probably a little sick and tiring, then I'll flip my narrative.
A lot of people, I think it's getting to that point. Like, I think if the Chiefs make it again to the Super Bowl and win again, people are going to be like, good, all right, I'm over this. It's going to be Patriots kind of all over again. So
yeah. Other than that, I'm really the most excited thing I am to see tonight is Derrick Henry on the Ravens.
Yeah,
and
yeah, me too.
What that's going to be like. I think that's going to be pretty sweet to see those options.
It'll be fun to see Lamar and a dominant runner like Henry together because I feel like Lamar's never really had a true dominant running back with him. So it'll be fun to see how that plays out.
I hope they actually like use them in tandem and they didn't sign Henry to like take the load off Lamar for his running and make him more of like a pass. Like I want them to just go all in, just be like, we're the best running team in the NFL.
Yeah, they have to. There's no way they just like take out a huge part of what makes Lamar so good and just don't use it anymore. I bet they use them pretty well in tandem. At least you'd hope.
Well, we probably aren't going to record tomorrow, but who you got on the Friday night game?
Friday night game? Okay, here's the thing. I want the Packers to win. I do. I don't say things like that often, if I'm being honest with you. But they are playing the Eagles, and I hate the Eagles. Unfortunately, I think it's a tough first game of the year, and I think the Eagles will win.
Yeah, I know it's going to be a tough one, but
it'll be a good
the merrier
benchmark
if they win.
It'll be a good benchmark to see where they're at. Starting, like if they start off the year already beating teams like the Eagles, I'd say that's a pretty nice sign for the future.
Yeah, I'm a little wary too about like how much we rested our players in the preseason. Like our starters played one drive in the first preseason game, and they got pulled the rest of the preseason.
Our starters, Cowboys starters, didn't play at all, so they're at least ahead of them.
Oh, Trey Lance QB1. That's a starter.
Dude, oh my God, they played him so often. It's so much, and he just showed how bad he is. It's unfortunate.
All right, well, we'll see you guys next week with some updates on how the league goes, and have fun watching some football.
Yeah, baby.
See ya.